So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today it looks like the lighting's a little bit, hang on. Is that better? Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are doing another tactical preview. This time, Manchester United versus Real Betis. A little bit of a different one to normal, because Manchester United, of course, go into the second leg 4-1 up. I think that was a really important result, because it gives United the opportunity to rotate. What it does mean is that the style of this preview will be a little bit different to some of the other ones. We will discuss a bit more the starting 11, rather than purely the tactical setup. So we'll go through the starting 11 initially, some of the changes that I would make to the team from the first leg, and then we'll of course talk about, how that'll play out on the pitch. So, the starting 11. It's a bit of a tricky one to figure out, which is why I kind of want to go through it with you guys and give my reasoning for a few different players. I think if we start off in goal, I think, David De Gea is a certainty to play the game. He plays every game for Manchester United, so I think that's fairly obvious. In terms of the other positions, which I think perhaps are the more obvious ones, I think Lisandro Martinez is another player who needs to play. I think this Manchester United team is just so much better when he's on the pitch. His ball playing ability from the back, his press resistance, which is something we will come on to. I think all of those things are needed. In terms of who plays alongside him, of course, it's typically Rafael Varane, although as we've seen several times this season, he doesn't tend to play too many games in a row, especially midweek. So with United comfortable and able to rotate, I would quite like to see Lindelof brought into the team. I think he's a very good ball player on this right side of the defence. It could also, of course, be Harry Maguire. But I like the idea of Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez as a ball-playing kind of centre-back partnership. I like the idea of that. Also, there is going to be more rotation in the defence as well. And at left-back, Luke Shaw hasn't quite looked on it the last couple of games, which might be due to fatigue reasons. However, kind of as a combination of fatigue, but also showing that his space isn't, guaranteed in the team, I would bring Tyrell Malacia into the team in his place. I think Tyrell Malacia has impressed every time he's played. So, again, that's a change I would make. And then at right back, I think Wan-Bissaka is going to be the best option at the moment. I think he's currently Manchester United's best right back on current form. I don't think, too many people would argue against that. Dalot technically might be a bit better, a bit more secure. But recently, Wan-Bissaka has been playing really well. So that would be my back four and goalkeeper. And I think based on what we saw in the first leg, that would be enough to stop Real Betis. The question now is the midfield, and this is where it's quite difficult. We've got Christian Eriksen still out for the foreseeable future. Of course, someone like Donny van de Beek out. We've got, I'm missing someone obvious, Sabitzer. The question is over Sabitzer, what kind of availability. I think he's probably going to miss this one as well. So that leaves us with the likes of Kobe Mainoo, McTominay, Fred, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Sancho if you want to class him as a midfielder as well. So those are the 6 players we've got to choose from for our midfield. Now, one of the obvious things to say might be to play Casemiro. And the reason that I think some people might think this is obvious is because, of course, he is going to miss the next few league games. So, play him here because he's not going to play the other games, so we don't need to rest him. However, he is only one booking away from suspension in the Europa League. And with teams like Juventus, Arsenal, Sporting still in the competition, I think Manchester United will need Casemiro in the future rounds. So for this game, I would actually drop Casemiro out of the team and bring Scott McTominay in. I think he's the only player who really kind of plays the same position, and I think he might be asked to play that role in the next couple of weeks with Casemiro out in the league. It's a good way to get McTominay up to match speed. It's not ideal, don't get me wrong, but if Sabitzer is going to be out injured, McTominay probably will be the Casemiro replacement, so he needs some minutes in him. And then alongside him, I think the most obvious player is Fred. Just for the sake of balance, his work rate in midfield. He didn't start at the weekend, so he should have plenty of energy. I'd like to see him brought into the team. So that is my midfield and defence. Now we move into kind of the attacking setup. As the attacking midfielder, I'm going to stick with Bruno Fernandes. Now, this is partly because I just don't think there are the options there for Erik ten Hag. There's very few players that could play this role. Jadon Sancho the only real other option. Ten Hag doesn't tend to rest Bruno Fernandes. I think we could see him brought off in the game, but I think he will start. Now, to the left wing. Now, this is a bit of a question mark again, because Marcus Rashford is, of course, the obvious option. The backup option would typically be Garnacho, but he's out injured. I would like to see Jadon Sancho play on the left-hand side. I think with Malacia down this side as well, and some of the tactical things I'm going to point out in a minute, I think Jadon Sancho could have some real joy down this side, so I'd like to see Jadon Sancho. In terms of on the right-hand side, I think Antony's played a lot of football recently, and, you know, the obvious replacement is Facundo Pellistri. Looked really bright in every game that he's played. I like what he kind of brings to the pitch. That natural winger trait, which again is something that we will need tactically. I'd like to see that. And then up front, the question is Rashford or Weghorst, basically. Weghorst has played a lot of minutes recently. I mean, Rashford has as well, but for the sake of this game, I think I would start with Rashford up front, try and get the tie killed very early on, and then make changes. So, you know, this would be my starting 11 for Manchester United, and, you know, I think it's a pretty strong 11, but there's still plenty of rotation. You're getting minutes into the legs of players like Scott McTominay. So this is how I would set up, and let's kind of look at how that will play out on the pitch. So I think actually on the pitch, Manchester United can use a lot of the principles which served them so well last week. I think Betis will set up very similar, because that is how Pellegrini sets his team up. It is a 4-4-2 a lot of the time. So I think this gives Manchester United options to play the ball out from the back. Now what we saw last week was Lisandro Martinez's press resistance being just absolutely incredible, and João Quinn tried but couldn't get close to him. And we also saw it from Lisandro at the weekend as well. So Lisandro Martinez in this area is going to give Manchester United a brilliant way of getting out the press. I would also, once again, drop Bruno Fernandes into a deeper position in midfield in the first build-up phase. With Fred pushing a little bit higher, Bruno Fernandes just brings a bit of quality. McTominay, to be fair, has a little bit of press resistance about him. Not in the sense of he's going to twist and turn and pass his way out, but his size. He is decent at protecting the ball when he's switched on, so that could provide some press resistance as well. And I think that will give United relative control. I think in the wide areas where Wan-Bissaka and Malacia are both good on the ball, Wan-Bissaka's ball carrying ability makes him press resistant at times. And I think what we saw in the first leg was that Betis, you know, they're going to press, but it's not extremely intense. The wingers aren't going to fly super high into the fullbacks. So I think Manchester United will get time in these areas. And, you know, from here, I think they should take control of the game unless they're really sloppy. If United perform to the standard that we expect, I think they can play through this first phase reasonably unchallenged. So if that is the case, Manchester United will be able to dominate possession, and I think from here they will look to play in a 3-2-5 shape. Of course, the back three is going to allow them to outnumber the Real Betis front two, meaning that Lisandro Martinez and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have the chance to step forward with the ball. We now have Fred and McTominay as the double pivot. It's not ideal in terms of ball progression, but it's kind of making the most of what you've got at the moment. Manchester United don't have too many other options, so this is what I would go for. Tyrone Malacia pushing forward down the left-hand side. Sancho moving into this pocket here, which is why I would like to see him on the left. Bruno Fernandes in his half space on the right-hand side. Facundo Pellistri wide on the right. And then, of course, again, Marcus Rashford out up front. Now, this shape is going to allow Manchester United to really control the game. And there's a few reasons for this. One, there is just overloads everywhere. If the wider centre-backs, Lisandro Martinez and Wan-Bissaka, are stepping forward with the ball, we can see that instantly this creates a 4 versus 3 up against Betis. The strikers in the first leg, they weren't doing a lot of tracking back. You know, they worked hard, but not with great intensity, so United can create overloads in this area. What this allows also is rotations. At times, Martinez can step a bit more infield and Fred can drop wide, or Malacia can be a little bit deeper, Sancho wide, Fred forward. There's plenty of room for rotation and movement in these areas, which is going to make life even more difficult for Betis. But basically, the idea of this shape is that United can just overload Real Betis in a load of different areas. If Sancho and Bruno Fernandes want to drop a bit deeper and more central, we can see that Fred, McTominay, Fernandes and Sancho are going to create a 4 versus 2 in midfield. So again, we've got an overload. But also, if Sancho wants to move wider, we can also see easy wide progression. Lisandro Martinez in particular, very good at stepping forward with the ball down this side. Again, it's going to allow United to quickly get into these areas. I think the idea again, like the first leg, should be to try and get into these half spaces here. It's this channel here and this little channel of space here. In the half spaces where a 4-4-2, which Real Betis will most likely play in, it gives you a box of space. We can see Sancho in the box here, Fernandes inside the box here. This is where these United players need to try and pop into. I think Sancho could do really well in this area. And I mean, if United are dominating, then Fred can also push forward as well and make it a bit more of a 3-1-6 or a 3-1-3-3. This is going to give Manchester United real potential to just completely overload and overwhelm the Real Betis defence. I think the wide play will be important as well, though. I think Malacia and Sancho will need to strike up an early understanding. Maybe Sancho underlapping runs into the channel could be a strategy. And then on the right-hand side, this is where I think Facundo Pellistri could have a lot of fun in this game. And I think with the pressure kind of a little bit off at 4-1 up, it gives him the chance to really express himself. When we've seen him play, he seems to be like a kind of a typical old school winger.
someone who just gets at his man and then looks to put the ball into the box, which is something that United could really do with at times. But also he does have that tight link play in and around the box. So I think, again, Manchester United could have a lot of success down this side. And then you've got Marcus Rashford up front, who should add that bit of quality, which Weghorst didn't have in the first leg. In the first leg, United created a lot of chances. They didn't finish them. I'd like to think Rashford, on current form, would finish a lot of those chances. And like I said, that should put United in a quite comfortable position. I think, being 4-1 up already, United had the chance. They shouldn't take the foot off the gas, but they should look to press hard early on and basically make it tie over. Because if they can do that, then Manchester United can make subs. Maybe we can see Rashford rested at half-time even to get Weghorst on. Bruno Fernandes as well. Maybe offer someone like Kobe Mainoo pushing Fred further forward. Something like that could work. And this could be an opportunity for Manchester United to rest some players in the second half. Hopefully they get into that position. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that actually happens. But I think Manchester United should be alright in this game. At 4-1 up, I don't see Manchester United losing this game by 3 goals. It could happen. But if Manchester United are sharp and show the quality on the ball and the mindset is right, then from a tactical point of view, then this should be, tactically, their system that Manchester United use is perfect to play up against Real Betis because it creates overloads in so many different areas. And then when you have overloads combined with the superior quality on the ball, it should give Manchester United the advantage that they need to again win this game. So I think Ten Hag will be quite confident about his side going into this game. It's a chance to give some different players some minutes. But hopefully Manchester United should still comfortably get through the tie. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm expecting the game to go. It's how I would be approaching the game. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What would you do in terms of team selection? You of course have seen the lineup that I would go for. You've seen my explanation, but you might disagree. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think the score will be. Some of the tactical ploys we might see during the game. All of that stuff, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.